Hey there. Welcome to the Pinfall Podcast. I am your host, Elizabeth. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host,
The cat. Oh,
yeah, special guest Kat. She showed up, yes.
great. One of
Yeah, what are we gonna do?
those days.
Just gonna stand there?
She's trying to pose. Like, she can't get the pose right. Can you blame her with 4 legs like that?
I mean, she's stunning. She really is. She's like a model.
Yeah. But it's impossible to find the right pose.
She like always get worried. I'm like, what are you sniffing? She knows the camera. She's up.
She hates cameras.
Quaker. I'm gonna take
Alright.
an Excedrin to hopefully make it through the episode.
Welcome, everyone, to the Friday Night Smackdown post-show, the Pinfall Podcast, in case you can't read and couldn't read the title. That's right on the screen.
I feel like you always tune out the fact that I say the Pinfall Podcast in the beginning.
I literally always do.
Yeah.
But you didn't say this is the Smackdown post-show.
I never do.
Mm-hmm.
Can you settle?
She's literally never gonna settle.
Alright, well.
So I want to jump into the
Having
news?
a reflective moment.
Oh.
Yeah, let's jump into the news.
Alright. Oh, and stay tuned till the end. You won't want to miss our predictions for Survivor Series. And because whenever we do a pay-per-view, for every incorrect prediction that each of us gets, we have to finish 1 can of hard seltzer before the podcast is over. So we get 5 predictions wrong. We have to finish 5 cans of hard seltzer before it's over. And then whoever gets the most correct, the most correct will be crowned the winner of the pay-per-view predictions and have to assign a punishment for the loser.
I better be feeling better by Sunday. If I'm not, this is gonna suck.
Well, I guess I'll have to take over as the lively one.
The thing is, it's like the sore throat's one thing, but then when I was walking to get the COVID test, I got a headache. So now I've got the sore throat, I've got a headache. My stomach doesn't feel good. I ate cheese.
Well, I hate to throw this on you, but do you mind riffing for like 2 seconds? I left my beer in the living room.
All right.
Alright, 2 seconds.
Well, little life update. I have a sore throat and a headache, a stomach ache, and these are all caused by outside. Like, they're not caused by the same thing. Sore throat's from whatever. Headaches from being outside. Stomach ache is from eating spicy food and cheese. But I just like want to die. I put on makeup for a month.
All right.
Still drinking a beer.
Let's do this.
All right.
What are you drinking tonight?
I got a gin soda. In case I want it. Got this Steel Brewery Wild Sour Series. Salted watermelon goes. I probably would say that wrong. I know it's a type of sour. It's a goes ale with watermelon, sea salt, and coriander. I saw the coriander and I was like, that sounds kind of festive. So, and I also got a hard seltzer if I turn on to that.
Very cool. Very cool.
I really accidentally overloaded myself with drinks. Normally, I'll bring like 2 hard seltzers in my cocktail.
Mm-hmm.
But I forgot I had this, so I made the cocktail, got a hard seltzer, and I was like, well, just in case, maybe I'll grab like a beer.
Mm-hmm.
I grabbed a Brooklyn Brewery sour, and now I've got 4 drinks on my desk plus my water, and I'm like, I don't feel good enough to finish this. What have I done?
I'm drinking Delirium Tremens. It's backwards for everyone.
I didn't
elected.
know that they made this in cans, by the way.
Oh, I didn't even know they made it in general.
They make you've seen it before. It's those like those beers that come in like the big bottles, like there's like the strawberry beer that your friend Bryan drinks, or
Mm-hmm.
not beer but alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
It comes in one of those. It's like a white ceramic bottle with one of those like little cork that goes in that you lift out with like a little metal tab.
Mm-hmm.
I'll send you a picture. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about because I saw it on the Drizzly order and I was like, oh. Um, it's just like it's so annoying that I feel like shit because like as I was saying before, none of this is like connected to the same thing, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
Stomach aches from eating food, headaches from being outside in the pollen. Sore throat could also be from the pollen, to be fair. My back fucking hurts, which is probably from my fucking sumatriptan, so.
Well, maybe you'll feel better as the podcast goes on. Kind of distract yourself. But alas, unfortunately, we have to jump into the news, my least favorite segment of the day. And since I'm the lively one, it's going to be a lively, cynical podcast. So buckle up, everybody. We're going on a road trip to hell. All right, Liz, walk us through the news for today.
Dude, Sarah's brother's best friend just got signed to the Yankees. So I actually have to leave.
Okay.
I'm signed to the Yankees now.
Okay.
By proxy.
All right. I can take over. Just hand me the signs.
I will be paying DJ LeMahieu straight out of my own goddamn pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So just so you know, your webcam's like on the fritz.
Is it?
Yes.
Doesn't look like it
was
on my
doing
screen.
It might just be me. It might just be Discord.
Mm-hmm.
I have to glue this fucking thing down before it stabs me. Yeah, it's just like flashing in and out.
I think that's Discord's connection or something because I don't see it at all on my screen.
Oh. Everyone prepare yourself then, because we might cut out. Okay. So, let's start with... Okay, so Arturo Ruas suffered an arm injury on his NXT debut.
Are you kidding?
I'm not, sadly. We said such nice things about him, so he had to have something horrible happen. I just feel bad for him. Like, he put on a pretty good show.
Do a shot this week for every single superstar that was injured from something this week. Because I guarantee...
We'll have our... Go on.
I was going to say, I guarantee there's more than one piece of news in there that has to do with somebody getting injured.
Yeah, I mean, we can have our injury in memoriam for the Micronis. But yeah, sucks for him. It wasn't very specific as to what happened. Or not what happened, but like what arm injury it was. I'm just hoping it's like not super bad and that he comes back. I like watching him. He's a good competitor for Kushida too. I liked.
Yeah, they kind of worked well off each other, especially being both grappling wrestlers.
Also, a future really good opponent for like Tommaso, Tams. Also, Hornswoggle was on AEW.
Was he?
Yeah, so you know the whole Inner Circle thing where they're in Las Vegas right now?
Yeah.
Apparently, and I bookmarked the article so I could look back at it, but I don't even need to. Chris Jericho and someone else from the Inner Circle, were coming back from a wild night out, and they were walking through the hotel hallway.
Mm-hmm.
They hear a baby crying, so they open up a door,
and it's
and there's
Hornswoggle?
Hornswoggle sitting on the floor in a diaper. Yeah. So, you know,
I feel
AEW, back at it again.
I feel like AEW's living the WWE Attitude Era right now.
I mean, they are, which is, good in some ways and bad in some ways. But good for Hornswoggle?
I mean, he's independent, so at least he's getting work.
Was Talking Shop Mania not enough?
Unfortunately, no.
All right, so there's a piece of news I want to read, but I'm trying to retweet the tweet. Oh, never mind. Found the perfect image. Anyways, really hope I didn't just retweet that to the Pinfall podcast account. No, I didn't. Cool. Bookmarks. See, my brain's working about 5 seconds per hour.
Mm-hmm.
You figure out what that means. All right, so there's a report stating that Vince McMahon had Zelina Vega escorted out of the Amway Center.
Go on top of that, I also read that Vince McMahon refused to talk to Zelina Vega that night until she was escorted out.
Mark Carrano apparently told Zelina that she was being released. She asked to speak to Vince. He told her he didn't, or she was told that he does not want to speak to her. She was escorted out of the building. Which, just like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah?
It's like Vince wants to be, like, the bad guy in this scenario.
It's like a video game where, like, you make dialogue choices and what you pick affects the outcome of the story and everything. And Vince is one of those people who intentionally picks all the wrong answers to get the worst possible ending. I can't see this going any right way for Vince, especially since you now have people in Hollywood speaking up about this. Director Darren Aronofsky spoke up about about this whole thing. Who you might recognize him from Mother, the Jennifer Lawrence
that
movie.
Guy.
He also did what else did Darren Aronofsky direct? I'm a movie guy, I should know this. Darren Aronofsky. He directed Black Swan, Requiem for a Dream, The Wrestler, The Fountain, Mother. Very talented director.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. I didn't realize he directed Black Swan and Requiem for a Dream, because now that I know that, I understand why Mother made me want to jump out of my own fucking skin. Get it.
And he basically said that these wrestlers are actors. They're talent just like actors in a movie. They should be treated as such. If they're independent contractors, then they should have the benefits that independent contractors get, and not be tailored down like full-time employees.
I mean, we can talk about it till we're blue in the face. It doesn't make sense because, I mean, up until now, really, I was never reading news articles about WWE, really, for the most part, until it became something I had to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I never really thought that they weren't, like, essentially full-time workers.
Yeah.
I thought, like, I understand that, like, people in Ring of Honor, people in Impact, people in ICW, I understood that they were indie and, like, that they were freelancers, basically, because I read everything that was possibly able to be read about Drew McIntyre, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, he traveled around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I just never realized that. And that makes me just, like...
The thing that I think should be the big issue, and what people like Andrew Yang and everyone contesting this should be going after, is if these wrestlers if anyone is under a non-competitive clause, meaning you can't work for any competitor while under contract, you should be considered a full-time employee.
Unless that contract is like 2 days long, which is rare. It's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
And I know everyone's always like, well, Vince is really scary and talk to. Like, have you ever, like, there's so many people that are like grown ass men. They're like, well, we can't step in the way because what Vince wants is final. It's like, all right, well, somebody needs to step in the way and say, hey, Vincey boy, you are single-handedly destroying your empire because people are going to leave you. Especially when there's something like AEW that's doing just as well, if not better, that gives everybody the freedom that they want. I mean, yeah, you might have a head injury and Chris Benoit yourself. However, at least they can, live their lives like human beings in the meantime.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really it. There should also be a wrestlers union and stuff like that to kind of protect these guys because, I mean, a wrestlers union would also help the indie guys, the AEW guys, from potential like severe injuries and like help them if they do sustain them, like provide them with benefits like that.
Well, I don't believe that people like Chris Jericho, like veterans like that in AEW, are doing that much to help. I know there's people like Jon Moxley in there too that are very passionate about that kind of stuff. So like, it's just one of those things where it's like AEW is doing really well and they're really young. Like Vince, baby, sweetie. I don't think that's a fucking war you want to start right now.
Yeah, like, how old is Tony Khan?
He's a young dude. Like
he
30s,
is,
I bet.
yeah, he's very young. He's 38. He's very young compared to Vince. And
Is he the dude in charge? Is he the Vince of AEW?
He is. He is doing immensely well compared to Vince. Kind of opposite trends going on. One's on a decline, one's on an incline.
Yeah, there's a part of me that's like, hopefully Vince is finally put in a position where he's got to step away because he's 73 something, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. Let me get an exact number on that.
Sure it's but there's a part of me that, because I know that like when Vince is finally put in a position where he's got to like step back.
75.
See, so my dude probably has, at best, I'm gonna say maximum here, 25 more years on this earth, right?
I would say less than that. He's wrestled.
I'm just saying, I'm giving people the general span of time I expect a person to exist.
Mm-hmm.
Like a 20-year like gap for any fluctuation. Stephanie's probably the one who's going to take over. Makes sense. It's really what they're setting her up for. She gets more responsibilities every other fucking month now.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that she is of sound mind and body. Seeing how NXT is doing, which, again, NXT is doing great in comparison, I think. It's just clouded by AEW. I hope that she's just like, all right, now that he's stepped back, hey guys, maybe we should talk about not ruining the WWE.
Yeah.
Like, if she is the top businesswoman as Forbes proclaims her to be, she's got to be smart like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she's probably the only person that could step up to Vince at this point, and she needs to take that reign.
And she'll probably listen to people like Daniel Bryan, Paul Heyman, Triple H a lot more than Vince would.
But that also raises the question of like, you got people like Daniel Bryan who are pretty, socially aware.
Mm-hmm.
You got people like Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, people who speak out on a lot of different things. It's
Shawn
like
Michaels.
Right. It's like, okay, cool. So you're speaking out on this, but does it matter if you're not doing anything? Not to say that about Sami, I guess, because Sami has proof that he does things. Um, I'm not saying that like these guys are like just giving us lip service. I'm just saying like this is a really important thing. I think that like big people need to back in order for it to get any traction or any respect in the industry or in the company. So it's like, can one of y'all speak up? Because apparently Zelina Vega is also moving in the background right now, like having very big talks with people about unionizing. And Vince is gonna have one of those fucking things like they had like with fucking I think it was hockey or basketball. And like they were having trouble with like the players union. There was a whole blackout and like nobody fucking played.
I think that was hockey.
Yeah, I think so too.
Um,
That's where that's how you hit them where it hurts the most. You
yeah.
guys aren't gonna do anything.
And Vince probably used Zelina as like a example by firing her for this kind of thing. But
Exactly.
he doesn't realize that for a lot of people this is the last straw. And he's gonna have people come after him in full force. Like now he is the attention of Hollywood. That's massive.
And Vince cares about that shit.
Yeah. I mean, how many movies has he funded? How many documentaries has he been making?
I mean, for it to go all the way up to Hollywood, to go all the way up to like Washington, it's like, hey Vince, I think change is a knocking on your door, baby.
Yeah. But we can, I was gonna say we can go on forever about this, so we should move on to
right. Let's move on to a totally not related story about how The Undertaker is now on TikTok, which is whatever. And also Cameo. For a lot of money.
Would you look at that? Vince, want to do something?
Oh, for a fact it's Undertaker. Vince is probably getting 900% of those profits.
And that is the exact case they can use. They take it to court. Say it's not even fair. There's favoritism.
It's, and that, like, I guess this is also, like, the other thing that, like, kind of puts me in, like, a weird place, like, when I think about, like, Xavier Woods, where it's, like, again, a lot of this could also be happening back in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, like, Cesaro literally wasn't able to stream.
Yeah.
Mia Yim got her rights to stream back. However, if you notice when they were playing Among Us with Up, Up, Down, Down, when Best Roommates Ever was playing with them, it's funny because Adam Cole was talking about Mia,
Mm-hmm.
and you could see him catch himself as he was going to say Mia, and he stopped and he was like, Steph. I was like,
yeah. Mia ain't her name anymore. It's Reckoning.
However, to go on to the same note, sort of in a way, sweet Shawn Michaels. So, I mean, as we all kind of know, I feel like The Undertaker is pretty much betrothed to the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of ways, I think that he would do basically anything for Vince if Vince asked. So Shawn Michaels was quoted as saying that he's never wanted anyone to find peace quite like he does for The Undertaker. And the full quote is, that's one of the things I sensed that time. Like I said, I want that for him. It's one of the things that bums me out that I didn't know. Mark has never struggled with anything, and if he has, I've never known because he keeps everything close to the best. Everybody's got their kryptonite too. No matter how much everyone thinks someone has it all together, nobody does. Everybody has a chink in their armor. Every Superman has his kryptonite. I believe he can be content, but some of that is on you as an individual to allow yourself to find contentment and peace in a situation. He's a smart, bright, intelligent man, and I believe that, yes, he will find it. All I know is that in these last few years, I've never wanted it for someone so badly like I do with him because, again, I feel like shit for not. It's one of the things I always say to him when I see him. Thank you so much for giving me that. Didn't know he was giving me that. I assume they're talking about their matches. to me, that will be the greatest gift that dude or darn near anyone has ever given me. That feeling to be able to walk away from the wrestling ring and not struggle with it because I understand how unbelievably rare and special that is. It's coming up a lot now. People are like, Drew was quoted saying like, it's selfish, but I don't want Undertaker to retire.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a lot of people who are like, he needs to fucking retire. Dude is old.
I feel like when it comes to wrestling, and retiring, it should be completely up to the wrestler to decide because it's an intense sport, and if somebody's like, according to their body and according to their health, not feeling right enough to keep going, then that's completely up to them because it's not like it's acting. Well, it's not like it's acting in a movie where there's less tax on your body. This is very, very dangerous what they're doing.
I think as far as that goes, like, I mean, there have been people like Daniel Bryan who were forced to retire because they couldn't medically compete. But that's mostly the WWE saving their asses. They don't want another, not to bring him up again, but they don't want another Chris Benoit. They don't want another Owen Hart. Yeah. They don't want people they don't want another Tyson Kidd who has been sidelined early in his career because somebody fucked up a move on him. Mm-hmm. But with that said, it's like, I think there's also some responsibility. There's a ton of responsibility on like the WWE to like, it must be so hard to be like an icon and then to be like, hey, I can't do this anymore because like I'm dying. My body is broken. And then for like, it has to be hard to like be like, yeah, your icon is piecing the fuck out. And then for them to like go on and be like, do so much fanfare to hype up a return so much when they hyped up a return already. It's like, there's a part of me that sort of feels like this isn't just like respectful, like, thank you so much for like giving the WWE what you've given them. But also in a weird way, Vince putting that leash on Undertaker, like, don't forget, everyone loves you.
Yeah. And Undertaker's been in the business for 30 years now, and he, just like every other wrestler, they are their characters. They are their legacy, and like icons like The Undertaker are not icons forever. Every character kind of hits its stride, and luckily Undertaker has been doing it for 30 years, but the person in that role would know better than anyone else when it's time to hang up the cape and just retire the character before it gets bad. Because the writer's not going to know that. You and I are both writers. We just keep writing until we're happy. But we don't know when a character or a storyline starts to get bad. Starts to get tired out.
I think also it's just like, we've talked about this before. Sports has been this dude's whole fucking life.
Yeah.
I mean, Undertaker dropped out of college to go into, I think, football and then wrestling. Mm-hmm. This is like what he knows. This is his life since like however fucking long now. Like what? Probably somewhere around 40, not 40, probably 30-ish, 35 years. Oh, 30 years. Mm-hmm. Dude's 55. Dude looks older than my fucking father, mm-hmm. who's 65, I think.
How old is he? 45?
55.
50. Okay.
And what? Lawrence is 66. So that already like shows the wear on his body.
Yeah.
It just, again, like to echo what Sean said, it's like you just want him to like find like a happy place where he can be like, fine, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. Like, I'm not coming back. I am so done with this. I could not be more done.
And honestly, I feel like we're past that point. I feel like that point was years ago. They didn't need to bring him back for the Boneyard match. They didn't need to keep bringing him back over and over. They should have retired him long ago and keep him at the right gimmick when the character was at its peak. I'm just talking from a storyline perspective, not a Mark Calloway perspective. That's his name, right? Mark Calloway.
Right. But the thing is, it's like, yeah, you want to be respectful, whatever. You know how much fucking money Vince rakes in over Undertaker, especially right now, where we've got the final farewell again after we did the whole thank you Taker shit a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
We've got this final farewell. Obviously, all of Undertaker's merch is selling probably like fucking hotcakes. They came out with their line of wines with an Undertaker. I don't know what the fuck wine it was, but it's like, you know for a fact that there's got to be somebody back there saying, "Oh, I think you can do like one more match, right, Undertaker? I think you can do one more. Just one more, right? Just one more. It's just one." Because it'll make them so much fucking cash.
Do you see the problem here? Do you see the problem?
I probably do.
Vince and the writers and producers are so focused on their existing superstars, their big names like Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, The Rock, John Cena, that they're not focusing on building new superstars, not even building them to the level of The Rock and John Cena, but just building up the WWE like AEW is doing to where it's just entertaining, to where it's just it's an entity that people want to crowd around. It doesn't need to be this super mainstream thing because everybody knows WWE. It's already mainstream. Professional wrestling itself might not be, but everyone knows WWE. You don't
Right,
need,
I mean,
you already have your company in the public eye.
I mean, and that's the thing too, is it's like, we haven't had another John Cena. We haven't had somebody that's on the same level. I mean, the only person I can think of at this point that is quite on that iconic level is Sheamus.
I thought Roman Reigns.
And Roman.
Yeah.
All right, Roman too. But it's like, all right, that'll carry you for like a little bit, but like, you know, for example, with NXT, they just took Leon Ruff and said, "Here, bitch, title shot. Have a good day." They would never do that in the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And not only did they say, "Here, bitch, title shot. Have a good day," but they also said, "Title shot, storyline. Welcome to fucking NXT.
Defend the title.
Defend the fucking title. Beat up both Johnny Gargano and Damian Priest, two of our top names right now.
And a pay-per-view event. And like,
So that's not confirmed yet, right?
It's not confirmed.
It's all but confirmed.
But I just want to end this with one point that in order to, if they want to build superstars to the level of The Rock and John Cena, they 100% need to let them have their Twitch streams, to let them have their cameos, to let them have these outside sources, because that's the same thing as letting them have movie deals. It's outside ventures, you know? Not everything can be put under the WWE label, because then you won't have those big shots.
And plus, on top of that, the other thing is, it's like, if you don't do that, once their contract is up, if they say, like, you know what, I really enjoyed doing streaming, or, you know what, I really wanted to do like this fun little venture off to the side, once their contract is up, they're gonna fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
They might not join another brand, they might not join another company, but they're gonna fuck off, and you're gonna be left like, shit. And just...
Yeah. But anyway.
I mean, Zelina obviously enjoyed fucking doing what she was doing on Twitch and on, like, cameo and shit like that, and OnlyFans.
Yeah.
It's like, she's like, fine, I'll fucking go over to that. I don't give a shit. Like, she's not the only one.
All right.
Anyways, you are also going to have to riff. You're gonna have to riff at some point because I really have to pee. I didn't pee beforehand.
Okay. All right. So matches and promos. I want to warn everyone beforehand. We had to pause the TV while we were watching, so Liz could have a bathroom break. And when we came back during commercial breaks, we tried to fast forward, but the TV froze, and so we had to restart and watch and skip ahead to where it was live. So we missed a couple promos. One of which was Otis being put onto the Smackdown Survivor Series team, and the other was Bayley going to the Smackdown Survivor Series team for women. So arguably two very important promos we missed.
I knew that would happen too. I was like trying to fast forward. I was trying to be good about it. And then Fubo said, "Bitch!" And I said, "All right, you're good point. I'm sorry, didn't realize that the tummy hurting a reason to miss a fucking TV show."
All right, so we started off with the Street Profits in the Champions Lounge, having some popcorn, drinking some champagne. They're celebrating, but they're also giving a little bit of a teaser to the rest of the episode as well as Survivor Series. You know, because I feel like the Street Profits are the best team for that. They do a really good job at that. Especially based on today, they kind of subtly ease those little nudges into their dialogue. But then Big E shows up when they mention the Undertaker, and you just hear one of the Undertaker's signature phrases, and then out rises a wide brim hat. It's a sombrero, and Big E's underneath. And then, and so they're talking about fucking. They're doing more of the New Day Street Profits stuff. Big E's just saying they're gonna lose. They're saying they're gonna win. Yada yada yada. And then that's really it. It's kind of just a back and forth on that point. But then Big E ends it with Xavier and Kofi are here today. Now, I was expecting a little bit of a reunion, kind of. I know it's just been like a month, maybe. But I was hoping for a little bit of Big E, Kofi, Xavier love, which maybe we'll get on one of the WWE Network exclusive promos. I was hoping. But then Big E on the spot does the New Day intro at the top of his lungs. And then we transition right into the next promo, which is the New Day talking in the ring. They do their little tribute to the Undertaker as well. They're talking about Survivor Series and stuff like that, and then who comes out? Sami Zayn comes out for whatever reason. Corbin comes out for whatever reason, and it's just a bunch of shit talk, yada yada yada. Sami mentioned that he's got beef with the Undertaker, and that the Undertaker's having his final farewell so that he can avoid having a little bit of a payback match with Sami Zayn. Because I would love to see that, Sami Zayn and the Undertaker. And then Dolph and Robert Roode come out, and they've got beef because New Day is from Raw and they're on SmackDown, but they also want the Raw titles for some reason. And then New Day says, "You know what? We want someone to challenge us for these titles. So how about you guys fight each other for the titles, or for a chance to get the titles?"
Mind you, a very confusing promo.
Yeah, very confusing. But then Dolph and Robert Roode attack the New Day early, and the Street Profits come out, and then suddenly it becomes an 8-man tag match where the titles are no longer on the line. So then we have our 8-man tag match between the New Day and Street Profits versus Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode, King Corbin, and Sami Zayn.
So not only a confusing promo, but a confusing match.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't quite understand anything that was happening because, like, we start with like fucking New Day talking shit, and that made sense. But for Sami to come out and just yell at them for the sake of yelling at them, like, you don't need to be in this ring. There's other rings that you could be in, and I'd be like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then for Corbin to come out for no reason, still confusing. Then for Dolph and Robbie, who are not even involved in Survivor Series, to come out, like, that kind of made sense. I was like,
yeah, because
I get it, like the titles,
mm-hmm.
but like, then the New Day are like, well, we'll put the titles on the line. I'm like, you're gonna have somebody from SmackDown potentially win the Raw Tag Team title. Just say you're merging the titles and move on.
They really should. They really should.
But then, like for them, the Street Profits to come out, I thought they're gonna attack the New Day because, like, hey, you're in our house, basically. But like, anyways, on to the just as confusing match.
Also,
tag.
real quick, I think for Survivor Series, an ideal situation would be suddenly last second they make it a title match, but they're merging the titles and whoever wins gets the title. I think that would be the best way they could do it. I know they won't because it's such a last minute change that I don't think they would, but you never know.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so Street Profits and New Day versus Corbin's, Sami, Robbie, and Dolph. Once again, we don't get to enjoy Robert Roode's fucking music. That's fine.
They're saving it for big moments.
Is me not feeling good not a big enough moment for them?
Honey, I don't think they know who you are.
I need to go lay down.
We run a subpar podcast on Twitch and YouTube.
All American Rejects know who I am.
Did you even plug the podcast to them? Do you say, hey? Oh, anyway.
I didn't know if the tweet was that caliber that I could do one of those. Hey, since this is blowing up, I always see that shit and I'm like, stop.
Yeah, honestly.
Anyways, so there's a drop kick to Dolph. Dawkins gets in immediately thereafter. There's a clothesline to Dolph, and then Dawkins launches Montez into Dolph. Then Dolph manages to drop kick Dawkins. Kofi gets in. Robert Roode gets in. There's a flying backwards elbow and a drop kick to Roode. Xavier, now this is where it gets really fucking strange. Because there's nothing that comes of this. Mind you. I kind of thought, like, oh, the two warring tag teams are on the same team. Like, I bet they're kind of going to be shitty to each other. But it's like this weird battle between their, like, mental states, more or less, where they're like, we respect you, but we're fighting each other. I shouldn't have to see that play out. Unless, like, you're going to do it, like, super dramatic. So anyways, Xavier gets in. Montez tags in on Xavier. Kofi tags in on Montez. Xavier gets tagged back in by Kofi. So I was like, oh shit, tension. Got it. They're gonna get beaten to shit. And then they're both going to be like, well, fuck, now we both feel bad. Like, we got to go into this match, like, having both just lost. Like, shit. Anyways. So, there's a dropkick to the midsection of Roode. Then Roode gets up and flattens Xavier. Corbin gets in. Xavier begins chopping him to pieces. There's a deep 6 to Xavier. And then Corbin sends a bunch of elbows down onto, like, the nice soft spot between, like, the neck and the shoulders. Or as we like to call it, his heel. The Achilles heel. It's like the biggest spot on Randy Orton. Aww. I miss you.
I'm glad everyone got to see my profile picture, which is Johnny Gargano wearing a porg hat.
I thought that was Harry.
No, that's Johnny Gargano.
Oh. Okay. Good. I love it. So Montez gets in, or rather, no. Xavier rolls through on Corbin, tries to roll him up. It doesn't work. Montez gets in. There's a kick to the midsection of Corbin, and then a drop kick. There's a failed clothesline to Montez, and then Montez just clotheslines the piss out of Corbin. Also, horrible showing from Corbin tonight. We did not get the classical Corbin that I wanted to see. We got a deep 6, but like, yeah, bloody. Yeah. So Kofi gets in. No, sorry. Montez clotheslines Corbin. He covers. Everybody's in the fucking ring. Dawkins punches Dolph, I think. And basically it all ends in Kofi basically accidentally body slamming Montez. Montez just being like, Ed and Kofi looking around like, oh shit, I did something bad. Oh shit, you did something bad. More tension. We get Montez versus Corbin. Corbin throws Montez into the buckle. Corbin power slams the absolute piss out of Montez, which was probably his best moment of tonight. Dolph gets in. There's a right hook to Dolph. Dolph then shoves Montez into the corner. Montez pulls off an enziguri onto Dolph. Tez then... My battery's about to die.
Why do you not plug it in before we start?
I never think. It's okay. It's okay. We are here. So yeah, then after like all this tension, right? After all this tension where Kofi's body slammed fucking Montez, we're all just sitting here like, oh shit. You know, 2 teams. They're going against each other at Survivor Series. There's gonna be some nastiness. No, Montez then tags in Kofi. Just tags him in.
Yeah, I feel like this should have just been like kind of 2 friend teams just fighting together from the beginning. Like all the conflict between them has felt so forced this entire time. I mean,
I like the Biggie promos. I do like those.
Because it's like, hey, we've got competition. You mind helping us out? And then Biggie just like, no. But them acting like they're pissed at each other and like they've got beef. What beef do you have with the New Day? Like, there's no reason.
And I think the Biggie promos worked because it was like trying to be kind of like sneaky and shitty, and like it's whatever because like they're at the end of the day they're friends. They're just kind of like goofing. But to put in like this like where Kofi seemingly like tackles Montez and it looks almost like it was like on purpose. It's like you didn't need that. That didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But like we've got Dawkins on the apron, Xavier's on the apron, Kofi's on the apron. All 3 of them have their arms outstretched, ready for the tag. And Montez chooses Kofi. It's not like a moment where like Sheamus shoved Braun's hand out of the way or anything like that. It was just we're in.
Yeah.
Anyways, Kofi gets in, Robert Roode gets in. There's a bunch of forearms and clotheslines to Roode, and then a drop kick. Kofi does the boot drop to Roode. Then there's a failed Trouble in Paradise and a failed Glorious DDT. Roode sends Kofi out, but he tags Xavier in right beforehand. Xavier manages a really nasty little DDT to Robert. Dawkins tags in on Xavier. Xavier argues with Dawkins about this. Corbin comes in and shoves Xavier. Corbin is not the legal man. There's no reason for it. Roode gets back up. Spinebuster to Dawkins. And then, so there were two things I noticed about this match. I was like, I didn't even manage to think about who the referee was, for starters, which is normally something I notice. Because 9 times out of 10, I'm looking for John Cone. So, didn't even notice the referee, which is actually kind of a good thing. I feel like the best matches are when you don't notice him.
Yeah.
So Sami Zayn's being a little piss baby, and he's like, I don't want to fight. I've got a match on Sunday. But there was never any point, with Randy, where Randy was like, oh, I don't want to fight. I don't want to, do this because I'm a little bitch boy. Where, Randy, avoided every fucking tag, his life depended on it. No one tried to tag Sami in at any point up until the end.
Yeah.
Sami did a great little freak out, which I really appreciated it, because he was like, what are you doing? Sami, it's a tag team match. It's like, you didn't even play that into the entire match at all. You only brought it up in the last second.
This whole match and everything around it has just been forced this entire time.
It was just so awkward. But Sami gets tagged in. He's upset about this. Dawkins immediately spinebusters him. Then Montez is in. Frog splash to Sami. New Day and Street Profits win. So even after all the tension, they still won.
I think the biggest thing about that match was Sami losing, and how it kind of foreshadows that Sami is going to get squashed at Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Because he was fresh in that match against people who have been wrestling the entire time. So, yeah, that's where my head's at.
And it did lead into a pretty decent promo.
Yeah, because we have the Daniel Bryan interview where he's being asked about Jey Uso, but then he's approached by Sami Zayn just coming out of that match. Sami Zayn's getting all in his face, angry at him, and Daniel Bryan's just like, whoa, all right, well, put up the mask, 6 feet apart. Good social distance, boy. My favorite thing about Daniel Bryan is that despite him saying that because of his diet he won't get COVID, he still wears a goddamn mask. It's easy, everybody. Yeah, so I didn't listen to most of it just because there was a lot going on outside of that, but Sami's just pissed off, and Daniel Bryan's talking about his match with Jey Uso later, and we see him with a new haircut. Very nice new haircut that is much, much, much better than the long hair he's been rocking the whole time. He's got the undercut. It looks very nice. Looks very nice on Daniel Bryan. And then after that, we have a little promo with little baby boy Seth. Although I think this was the point. Yeah, prior to this promo was the 2 promos. One with Bayley joining the women's Survivor Series team, and Otis being approached by Adam Pearce, being told he's joining the men's Smackdown Survivor Series team. And then Chad Gable also approaches him. So, and then we lead into the Seth promo where he's talking about Murphy. And then after that we have Natalya versus Tamina for the last spot in the women's SmackDown Survivor Series team. Yeah. The two disposable women that SmackDown has been throwing around this whole time in these qualifiers.
Straight up said when we were watching this, I was like, how can we make both of them lose? Because that's kind of the pattern we've been going on. Bayley comes out because Bayley's been added to the SmackDown team. So Natty starts off by just absolutely socking Tamina, and then Tamina sends a boot back into her face. Tamina slams Natty into the steps. Then there's a Samoan drop attempt. But Natty wiggles down, gets a waist lock on Tamina. But Tamina just kind of runs her backwards into a corner.
Mm-hmm.
Tamina then runs at Natty, but Natty dodges her, sending Tamina into the post. There's a hard clothesline to Tamina, and then Natty puts her into the sharpshooter. Tamina taps in 3 seconds flat, I think. And the one perk that we got out of this is that Bayley seems just absolutely jazzed about her team.
Yeah. She seems less heel, but she might just be a different kind of heel.
I mean, at this point, I think she's just like, this is my team, and we're going against another team. Therefore, I love this team.
Yeah, and SmackDown is 100% like, we don't know what to do with you right now. So let's just go with Survivor Series and we'll take it from there. Curious to see how Charlotte Flair will fit into all of this because we know she's going to appear at Survivor Series.
Fingers are crossed. Do you think they'll have her come back and on the night that's supposed to be Undertaker's night? Do you think that'll happen?
Well, look. Yes. Because the event will not be for Undertaker. Undertaker will just draw eyes, and then WWE will use that opportunity to bring in stuff, reveal stuff that will be used to carry on to the future, like Charlotte Flair coming back, maybe somebody else coming back, Rhea Ripley maybe joining the main roster, and then that will be the forward pushing point, and Undertaker will just be there to draw eyes for it.
Yeah, I mean, it was suggested that after the match on Wednesday with Rhea and Io, that it's looking like that ends any storyline that Rhea really had on NXT.
Yeah.
There was rumors that she was going to be one of the ones joining Team SmackDown. That she was getting called up to the main roster and going to be her. I'm here. But Natty and Bayley were also suggested at that time, so looks like that's where we're going. I am just kind of scared of Rhea getting called up to SmackDown of all the fucking rosters.
I mean, look. She gets called up to SmackDown, she'll get primary story time, primary screen time. If she gets called up to Raw, she's just going to be used as filler. She's going to be like a Matt Riddle, where she's just there to fill time. They're struggling to fill the time, so they give her shitty stories. But at least if she gets SmackDown, I feel like there's more writing focus on that end.
I guess that's fair.
But after that we had the Drew McIntyre Roman Reigns contract signing. That was
Drew came out in patterns. Solid shirts for this man. Second title reign, we're doing patterns.
This whole thing was a complete mess because so Drew comes out, sits down. Roman, after his song plays for 2 minutes, comes out with Paul Heyman. Roman is offered the seat by Adam Pearce across from Drew, but Roman says, no, I only sit at the head of every table. What if a table has no head, Roman? What if it's a circle?
It's like it's a circle booth, so he pulls up a chair to sit on the non-booth side of it.
It's like Vince McMahon is calling him into his office, Vince is sitting at like his like the wide side of his desk. Roman just sits at the end.
Oh my god.
So they sit down and it seems very much like Roman and Drew were not given scripts for this, and Roman was trying very hard to riff, but just really couldn't. What was the line that he like really just struggled to get out and ended up sounding so stupid?
First of all, before I tell you, because I don't quite remember the line, but it's just like first it seemed like they had some funny fucking joke backstage before coming out. And now they like are sitting next to each other right after this joke has been told. And they're trying not to fucking crack.
Mm-hmm.
But they clearly are. This is my favorite fucking promo, by the way. Basically, because Drew says, like, you know, this was around the time that Drew went to go hand him the contract and then did not let go of it.
Mm-hmm.
Drew, like, something along the lines of, like, hope you underestimate me. I was like, I think that's what we all hope for when, like, going into things like this. But yeah, sure. Poetic. Roman just starts talking some shit about how, like, you'll never be as good as me. Like, you're never gonna be me. You're never gonna be the head of the table and shit like that. And it just, like, you can tell for a solid, like, minute, his brain is trying to figure out what's the best thing to say right now. Because, like, he takes his time to, like, look back at Paul, kind of, like, joke. Oh, my God. Sweet, sweet, sweet boys. And more so, it felt like Roman didn't get a script for this. Drew kind of felt like he, like, knew what to say. It sounded like they basically told Roman, like, last Friday, hey, by the way, you guys are going to have this title contract signing and shit like that. And then Roman's like, yeah, I'll write a script for myself. And they're like, cool. And then tonight they were like, hey, Ro, you got to come out now. And he's like, fuck the script!
And the thing that I was trying to think of was Roman said about Drew that when people think of the WWE, it's Roman. Roman's the face of the brand. Drew is the secondary title holder. Drew has the number 2 title, but how it came out of his mouth was so wrong. It felt like he was trying to do stand up on SNL. It was just. Although he did end it by saying that Drew was his favorite number 2, his favorite piece of shit.
I think that's what they were, like, joking about probably backstage, was like, Roman's like, I've got this funny fucking joke I'm gonna make. Mm-hmm. And that's what he based the entire script around. He's like, I know exactly, I know I'm gonna know how to get to this point. I don't need to write a script for myself for this, like, entire first portion of it.
Mm-hmm.
I just have to get to this fucking line. And it's like, bro, you're the Universal Champion. Drew's the champion of the entire WWE fucking E. What are you talking about?
Well, to be fair, the Universal Champion means that you're the champion of the WWE Universe.
Universal Champion means that they just didn't have a fucking title on Raw when, like, the brand split happened. And they were like, fuck, and they made the Universal Championship.
But
That's what that means.
Right now, it's just a second version of the WWE title. Like, that's all it is. There's no difference.
Also, can we discuss the pen? Can we discuss the fucking pen for like 5 seconds here?
Yeah.
Drew signs the contract with a pen. There's 2 pens on the table. Roman takes the contract, takes the pen. Paul stops him, goes to grab the pen, drops the pen, picks the pen up, throws it off the ring, hands him the unused pen, which Roman then takes, and then, clearly while he's trying to formulate what the fuck he's about to say, drops the pen accidentally in the middle of the fucking contract, and I'm just sitting there, I'm like, oh my god, we're never gonna get through this.
I have a very strong feeling that Paul did that because he's like, oh no, there's Rona on that pen. And he pulled it out and gave him a new one. It was
It's
fresh.
the thing is, it's like you could tell too the entire time. You could tell that Roman was having, because Roman, mind you, for the last 4 weeks, last 8 weeks now, has been serious, dead serious, intensely serious to the point where it's like, oh God, do you have a pulse? And tonight he's sitting there. You can tell he's cracking. You can tell that he's going to smile. You can tell he's about to laugh. And then there are certain points where even Drew, who's pretty good at being composed, or at least like sarcastically laughing at things, like even Drew, you can see that he's trying his hardest not to fucking crack up. I was like, what is happening here? What the fuck is going on with you two? I loved this fucking promo so much. It was perfectly stupid. I know they didn't mean for it to be stupid, and that's what made it better.
But before we go on for too long about that promo, we have Seth Rollins versus Buddy Murphy.
Put too much beer in my mouth. I'm sorry, do you mean Jag Cooper?
Seth Rollins versus Jag Cooper.
So, immediately before Murphy can get into the ring, Seth knocks him with a little fucking knee. Once the match starts, Seth buries Murphy in the corner. They're just punching each other for a while. Seth then launches poor old Murphster into the barricade and then the post. Murphy, by the way, is wearing pants, the same pants that he would wear as a disciple. Now they have an iron-on logo emblazoned on the side, clearly a last-minute thought by Costumes. Super fucking cool logo on it, though. It says Messiah Slayer, and I said, fuck you, Murphy.
I thought about this. It might not have been last minute. It kind of gave the same impression that like graffiti would have. Kind of like tarnishing what was old.
Okay. Fine. Or it was last minute, and then they said, oh, it looks like it could be this. And you just gave them every reason to think they were right.
I thought it was funny. I thought it was good.
I liked it. So Rollins gets Murphy tied up in the ropes, goes off the ring, grabs a kendo stick, and Jess Carr's like, hey, you can't bring that in here. And Seth basically says, I don't give a fuck about the rules.
He says, disqualify me then.
Seth, I mean, you know what? It hasn't stopped you before. You're right.
Hasn't stopped Murphy either.
True. But Ray decides that he's going to step in his little Louis Vuitton mask. And Seth clubs the absolute shit out of the old man. Dominic comes in. Dominic gets fucking thrown around. Murphy finally comes to the aid of his father and brother-in-law.
Oh God, brother-in-law.
He gets up to the top rope, and Seth shoves him. And I gasped because I was like, oh no, Murphy's gonna die. Murphy gets up to the top fucking rope. Seth shoves him so hard he flies all the way back to the fucking barricade. I said, well, Murphy's dead. So I see him. And then he goes and tries to intimidate Aaliyah, who looks like she nearly busts her fucking kneecap off, falling backwards in her dress. And I said, Aaliyah, you better be wearing fucking shorts under that dress, honey. I'm begging you.
100% wasn't meant to fall because I saw her ankle twist.
Also, she 100% was not wearing shorts because at one point, right after Seth struck Murphy with his knee before Murphy could get into the ring, she like kneeled over to like see if he was okay, and you could see her like just holding the dress down. And I was like, we gotta make smarter moves than this.
She is on network television. Fox.
My girl has almost had a titty come out. She's almost had her ass out. Like, Aaliyah, baby girl. It's a cute dress. I'm gonna be honest with you. Cute dress. I wanted to buy one of those for myself personally. You know why I haven't? I was afraid of my ass being out.
But she can look good without having to worry about that stuff.
Yeah, she's a pretty girl.
That's the kind of stuff you wear to bars. Not the kind of stuff you wear on network television.
I was like, there's been a lot of clothes Aaliyah's worn. I was like, I don't want to be lusting after a 19-year-old's closet, but like at the same time, nice.
I mean, clothes are clothes.
And she's got enough money to buy the clothes that I would like to buy. But I'm getting a raise next year, so catch me, Aaliyah. Sorry, I don't know what's going on with me. Let's say that I have a fever, even though it's proven that I don't.
That's the one thing that's not wrong with you.
Weirdly enough. In fact, my temperature was like 97 degrees, and I was like, I'm a lizard. Get me a heat lamp, baby. Anyways, so as Murphy is dead because he's just been flung into the barricade from a distance, Leah's screaming at him, Murphy, get up, Murphy. I was like, Aaliyah, I don't think he can, baby. He's 32. He may have dislocated something there. He's not like you.
We
He
finally
doesn't have more cartilage than bones.
We finally found somebody worse than Dominic. At least Dominic's improving.
Well, that's especially because Dominic hasn't said shit in a long ass time.
Yeah. He knows his strengths.
We haven't had to watch a Dominic promo in a hot minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. How this not be happening? So okay. Rollins then gets Murphy back into the ring. He whips Murphy into the corner. There's an elbow to Murphy's head. Seth goes up to the top rope, and Murphy tries to set him up for sort of like, he pulls Seth's head between Seth's legs. It looks like he's setting up for like a little knee strike. But Seth very gently just goes, boop, with his little feet, knocking Murphy backwards.
Yeah. You good?
I'm trying to avoid having hiccups.
Okay.
Anywho. There's a sling blade to Murphy, and there's a kick to the head of Seth as Seth goes to stand up on the ropes again. Murphy sends Seth from the ring and then sentons out onto him and lands on his little kitten feet. Impressive. Murphy gets up to the second rope. Seth gets up to the second rope. Seth gets sent down, comes back up to the top rope. There's a superplex. Seth lands on his little feet and immediately sends Murphy down right into a fucking Falcon Arrow. Like, my God, Sethless. The boys get up onto the apron. They're punching each other, and there's a knee strike off of the apron to Rollins. Seth then stomps Murphy through the second fucking rope. I said, Draper DDT Hoomst? Never met her. Murphy, dead. Manages to grab the fucking rope with his little feet to stop the count. Seth buckle bombs Murphy, and then there's a knee strike right to Seth. A failed stomp, a second knee strike, and then a move that I don't have a name for, I don't have a description for. It was like a power slam suplex almost. Like I don't know how to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
But Murphy won.
Yeah.
It was an amazing move.
It was. I think Seth should have won, but that's just me.
Although Seth looked all better.
Seth still did fantastic in the match. But after that, we had a face-off between Asuka and Sasha, which felt more hostile than I was expecting. Because
Also a very weird promo.
Yeah, I thought we were over the whole Asuka Sasha thing, and when Sasha's focus switched to Bayley, and this would have been a good opportunity just for Sasha to just be like, hey, like, good luck. I'm kind of coming down off of this, so and now I have some blonde bitch following me. Asuka yells some shit. Don't understand it. Don't know what she's saying, unfortunately. I don't speak Japanese. And then,
She did the John Cena thing.
she did. She said, "You can't see me," and then did this. And then Sasha said, "You put that hand in my face, I will break it. I can see you." So Sasha's having none of John Cena at all.
Sasha, are you good, baby? Like, you got a headache or something? Like, what's up?
She is having
a bad day.
She's having a bad. She was on The Mandalorian and was like, "Fuck, that production was so nice compared to this. I got fed. I was part of a union.
Me.
I could stream. I could have an OnlyFans."
Dude, also, by the way, speaking of, before we get into the weird part of this promo, besides everything else that was weird about it, Sasha did mention that she, like, has so many, like, things that she wants to do, like, being a Victoria's Secret model and all the shit that, like, she actually probably could attainably do, because she's also young. And I was like, once again, Vince, just telling you now, you might want to nail some shit down while you still can. Because you got super talented people that could do a million other fucking things.
Exactly.
Continue.
So after that whole thing, Carmella comes out of nowhere, still wearing the same red leather BDSM gear from last time, and just attacks Sasha from behind. I'm tired of this. You know, everyone who's trying to go for a title doesn't just randomly attack the person that they're trying to get the title from. Like, there's no point. Carmella, why?
I mean, like, if you're looking for a promotion at work, do you not just attack the guy above you?
You're right.
Just, like, run into his office and, like, suplex him?
I do bring a baseball bat to every interview I go to.
When the boss asks you, where do you see yourself in 5 years, you're like, you want to fucking find out?
I suddenly pull out my hit list. Well, there's a CEO job I could take.
Vice President of Marketing, possibly.
And then, like, it's one thing if there was, like, hostility between them, but it doesn't seem like there is. And there's
not enough time for it.
There's nothing afterwards either. It's just Carmella just walking away, looking back at the scene that she committed as she's walking backwards. I beat her up good.
Also, there's a way to fucking walk out. There's a way to walk out and make a point without primping the entire way backwards, bitch. You're gonna tangle your goddamn hair. Stop. I half expect her to accidentally just, like, smear her lipstick because she's primping so fucking hard.
She's constantly just like, ugh.
But please, get to the weirdest part of this fucking promo. It was the strangest shit. This further convinces me they did not have a script for tonight.
So, as Carmella is beating the shit out of Sasha, throwing her across the ring, Asuka is just standing there, like, the entire time, like, so confused.
For a second, I was kind of thinking, like, oh, her facial expression changed, maybe like a grin or something like that. I don't fucking know. But no, there was nothing there. And, like, at one point, fucking Carmella drop kicks fucking Sasha's face into the goddamn post, and Asuka's face stays the same. Exactly like that. I was like, ma'am? She checked out for the entire fucking promo. The entire second half of that, she was gone. And there wasn't even just like a haha afterwards or anything like that. It was just her standing there like.
And they kept cutting to close-ups of her, just making that bland expression, just so confused.
And it's even funnier when you consider the fact that it's Asuka, who's never once been like a mild-mannered person. It's Asuka who screams in every interview.
I wanna I want to see that TD, that technical director behind the switchboard, who was just like, oh, look at her fucking face, look at her fucking face, let's cut to that shit, cut to it.
I love, like, it almost felt like Asuka was, like, green screened into it and didn't actually know that anything else was happening around her. That's all that felt like.
She was like, wait, Carmella's back?
No one told me about this. I haven't been around Smackdown in a really long time.
I haven't been around WWE in a while.
I wonder if Asuka was just like, because Carmella looks so different, maybe Asuka was just like, what the fuck is that?
Is that Charlotte Flair?
Oh, Flair get Tanner.
But anyway. After that,
like,
yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, again, like, also, for, like, a human being to not crack any sort of expression whatsoever in that situation, strange. Like, it just convinces me further that there was absolutely no script tonight. This was another one of those nights where, like, I'm sure they were scrambling backstage because Vince threw out the script last second. And Asuka's just like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be, like, hyped about this because, like, Charlotte Flair's getting beaten up, or, like, I should be annoyed by this because Carmella's, like, stepping in on my promo. So I'm just gonna cut it even and,
let's just hope the cameras aren't on me.
Fingers crossed. She watches it back later and she's like, fuck.
But anyway, after that we had an interview with Jey Uso that starts off with Kayla asking him if Roman will allow him to have this interview, and Jey says, I don't fucking know, but I will.
Like, oh, you got jokes now. And I was like, is this the only line you have? Is this the only line you can remember, Jay? You can tell me, be honest.
Oh, God. He talks about Daniel Bryan, talks about Roman, you know, the usual. And then we go into the last match, Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso. Great match.
What a match it was, yes. It was a decent match. It wasn't... I guess I can't say it wasn't my favorite match or wasn't the best match because I don't really know what the best match was. But yeah, Danny versus Jey. I called Daniel Bryan Danny the entire time in my notes, and I'm not really sure why because I've never called him Danny before.
Danny J. Oh no, Danny B.
Danny B.
Dan B.
Better Danny B, if you will.
D. Bryan.
Better yet, birthday twin, DB Cooper. This is my birthday twin, and DB Cooper's kind of cool.
All right.
Lighting makes my tongue look so white. My mouth is dry. I promise. I brush my teeth every night. So Danny's looking a little shitty. Jey gets kicked, and then Daniel puts him into a nice old leg lock. There's a knee to Jay's face, and then some chops. And then a knee drop to Jay's head. Then let's see how many more front pages. I don't actually have that many notes for this match at all. They get outside the ring. Jey sends Bryan into the steps. Sorry, I got confused there. Jey sends Daniel Bryan into the steps, then starts clearing the announce desk. Corey, in his haste to get away from the announce desk, loses his headphones, which was quite comical. There's a drop kick to Jey. There's some kicks to Jay's head. There's an uppercut to Daniel, and then once again, my least favorite fucking move, the super telegraph fucking kick to the person's head. Where, like, Daniel pushed him against the ropes and then ducked down, and then Jey kicked him in the face. And I was like...
I mean, every time I see that, yes, it looks telegraphed, but, like, that could easily look like it's supposed to be Daniel Bryan ducks down, Jey, with the momentum, runs into him, Daniel hoists him over his back. I think that's what's being set up. And then what Jey does where he kicks him is a counter.
Like, it's not just Jey. It's like every
I know.
fucking match.
It's
I hate it.
It's a counter. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Stupid. Okay. So there's the kick to Daniel's head. Then Daniel goes through the ropes to Jey and nearly dies because, listen, Jey's outside the ring, right? Jey's outside the ring, standing in front of the announcers that he just cleared off. Bryan dives out with so much fucking momentum that I'm sure his fucking vertebra were like, oh my god, it's happening again. Daniel manages to dive onto Jey and kind of avert disaster, but I think he still hip checks the fucking announce desk. So he's writhing on the ground in pain. I was like, great, you got a nice haircut, you came back, and now you're broken. Also, can we talk about the fact that we keep calling this Daniel Bryan's fucking return to the ring like he didn't fight Jey Uso 2 weeks ago? Can we discuss that? That's silly.
Yeah.
Anyways. So we get back into the ring. There's some chops in the corner to Daniel, then a backbreaker to Daniel. There's some punches to Jey on the apron. Daniel goes up to the top rope, and Jey stops him with a hard punch. And then Jey superplexes Daniel Bryan off of the ropes. Jey goes for the Simone drop on Daniel. But Daniel immediately sends him down into the crucifix pin. It was clear that he put more of his weight into the Simone drop to turn it in his favor. Pulled him into the crucifix pin. Jey kicks out. Daniel gets the yes lock on Jey. Jey manages to get free. Jey goes up to the top rope. Daniel Bryan follows him, and then there's a back suplex off the top rope in favor of Daniel Bryan, potentially breaking Jey Uso's fucking arm because Jey Uso lands like right in the crevice between the arm and the torso. And I said, "Oinks, brother." And Daniel Bryan then does his yes kicks with horrible fake yes chants from the crowd, which was really just an older crowd probably chanting yes during one of their past shows. Mm-hmm. They had to like isolate one yes for every kick and time it with it, because like when you're in a crowd, like, yeah, you're seeing it happen. But the sound guy's just like, here's the yes and here's the yes. And it's the same fucking horribly cropped audio clip, and I'm like, sounds really bad. You should have just kept some of like the yes, the S out there, just stops. Anyways, that's my own qualm. Daniel Bryan then stomps on Jey for a little bit. There's a super kick to Daniel Bryan once and twice, and then a third time. Jey goes up to the top for the Uso splash, but Daniel Bryan gets his little fucking knees up and then rolls Jey up to win.
And that's where the episode ends.
I want to give a quick shout out to Milam, mostly because
what?
I don't know. I think I just like started smoking crack. It looked like the light under my keys was like vibing, kind of like, or pulsing.
What does that have to do with Milam?
All right, that has nothing to do with Milam. Milam and I sent Milam a funny tweet as Phil Mattingly, CNN guy who did the magic mat for a while through the election.
Mm-hmm.
Woke up in the morning, went to go fucking work out at the gym, and then pretty much dislocated his knee before he could even get to the gym. So I sent it to Milam because I said, I think you're going to be the only one who appreciates this. And he made a comment about how Phil Mattingly isn't ready to take John King's mantle yet. I said, John King definitely waited by like his bedside and like fucking took his fucking knees out just to keep him in his place. And fucking Milam said, Nancy Kerrigan'd him. And that was while we were in the middle of this podcast, and I almost started laughing. Mm-hmm. I knew I couldn't, or else I'd look like a freak.
Also, stay
I just want to show
tuned.
that fun exchange.
Stay tuned till after the best of the night for our predictions for Survivor Series. But before we get to that, we have our update in the Marks Power Rankings. Our highest rise, lowest fall. I can never remember. Highest rise, lowest fall, biggest rise, biggest drop. Rise of Skywalker. What? Okay, go ahead. While I do this. Hurry up. Alright, so biggest rise of Skywalker in the Mark Power Rankings. The biggest rise came from Kofi Kingston, who rose 38 ranks, which is attributed to him. God, she's not even left the room yet. Rose 38 ranks because of his 2 matches, one on Monday and one today. And one being a title defense. And then the biggest fall is actually a tie between 2 tag team members. And it's from NXT UK. The 2 members are Levi Muir and Sam Gradwell. I don't know the tag team name that they belong under. If anyone knows, please tell me in the chat. But they fell 50 spots in their loss. And it was just a simple loss, no title on the line, no main event. This is just one loss that put them down 50 spots. Now I want to give a little update. Might make this the last top 10 update before the Mike Romy Awards. We're going to give a top 10 of our top 10 of the Mark Power Rankings of 2020. So, at number 10, we've got the SmackDown Women's Champion, Sasha Banks. At number 9, we have the United States Champion, Bobby Lashley. At number 8, we have the Cruiserweight Champion, Santos Escobar. At number 7, we have the NXT Women's Champion, Io Shirai. At number 6, we have Keith Lee. At number 5, we have the Universal Champion, Roman Reigns. At number 4, we have Bayley, the newest member to the Women's SmackDown Survivor Series roster. Number 3, we have one half of the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, Montez Ford. At number 2, we have the other half of the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, Angelo Dawkins. And at number 1, we have the WWE champion himself, Drew McIntyre.
I'm so glad I came back for this. Ow.
Alright, so bests of the night. Start off with promo of the night. What if I looked down and just saw that we weren't live right now?
I hope everyone enjoyed seeing my monochromatic outfit today because I don't feel good and I was really cold.
Anyone saw it.
Oh, well, you could see my pants. They're gray and fleecy. I like to give the impression, like, you know, typical COVID times that, like, I'm wearing a shirt and jeans or something like that. I'm not. Now that the winter is here, I'm not wearing anything besides sweatpants and coziness.
Alright, so promo of the night. Everything that was good today was not good because it was good. It was good because it was hilariously bad. So keep that in mind as we go into this. So we had the Street Profits promo where they kind of introduce the episode and give us a little lead into Survivor Series. We have Big E doing his Undertaker impression. This was funny. It was okay. It
was good to see Big E do the New Day intro himself. Like,
it was.
Live and in person.
But it also teased me for a pseudo reunion of the New Day, but we didn't get one.
Why didn't we get that?
I don't know.
You couldn't even have Big E come ringside? Like,
nope. So after that, we had the New Day starting to talk in the ring, followed by Sami and Corbin and Dolph and Roode, and then Street Profits join in. This was hectic. This was unmotivated. It was weird. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It was just strange. After this, we had the hilarious Daniel Bryan interview where he emphasizes the mask and reminds us all that we're in a pandemic. Please, wear a goddamn mask. After that, we have a promo with Seth. And then after that, we have the contract signing between Drew and Roman, where Roman might have just been trying to make Drew laugh the whole time. It's very unclear. I think Roman was kind of just having fun. After that, we had Asuka and Sasha face off, which hilariously had Asuka's blank expression the whole time, nothing going on in her brain, and Carmella just hilariously walking away, walking backwards, primping her hair, as Asuka is still just blank in the face.
it was perfect. It was like chef's kiss. Like, what the fuck is happening?
And then lastly, after that, we had the interview with Jey Uso. There's one thing that made me laugh beyond belief, and that's the Asuka and Sasha face-off. That's my pick for promo of the night. Nothing made me laugh harder.
I don't know. I have trouble here because, like, the Drew and Roman, whom's the fuck let you in, sir?
Pete's Letterman.
It's a mosquito, I swear to God. I know if it's a mosquito, I'm gonna have a mosquito bite. Like,
I think he's joining the PCW.
It's like I'm at a fucking bar. I've got to cover my drinks. These mosquitoes are attracted to my fucking cocktails. They were not attracted all summer, but all of a sudden the winter hit and they were like, fuck, gotta get something in me. It's hard for me because, like, the Drew Roman was just fucking ridiculous. The Asuka Sasha promo was also really fucking hilarious. But personally, I have to go with the Drew Roman one only because that was two people doing weird shit, as opposed to just one person.
But I think the contrast between Carmella beating up Sasha so seriously and Sasha like actually in pain and Asuka just...
Yeah, you know, fine, fuck it. I'll give it to you.
Yes.
There you go. Don't ever say I never did anything for you.
Wow.
Hey, Pete, there's a bug in here. Do you think you could get off your butt and do something about it?
No. Alright, so, Wrestler of the Night.
She knows that was in the adoption contract that we can't make her do work.
Yeah. So, Wrestler of the Night. I already know what my pick is, but I'm still going to go through them. Alright. Sorry.
You gonna make it?
I've had a long work week, and it's going to continue tomorrow. So we started off with New Day and Street Profits versus Dolph, Roode, Corbin, and Sami. My pick here is Tez. He had the most time in the ring and used that time very well, both selling great hits to his opponents, but also landing incredible hits on his opponents. I think he shined the most and had the most energy throughout the entire match. But this was a very hectic match in general, so it was very hard to give any wrestler any kind of light at all. After that, we had Natalya versus Tamina. I don't know. Fucking Natalya. I wrote Natalya. After that, we had Seth Rollins versus Buddy Murphy. My pick is Buddy. Or no. God, brain, why? My pick is Seth.
What's going on?
I picked Seth. I picked Seth.
Did you pick Seth though?
Yeah, I did. I wrote Seth here. I wrote him down. I wrote him down. Seth Rollins.
Yeah, if that's what that says.
So Seth looked fantastic. Buddy looked great too, but Seth had the added character to him. That's one thing Seth always does perfectly, mixing his character in with his wrestling. He's a fantastic performer. Even though his wrestling moves might not be so impressive and larger than life, he always brings a lot of life to his character and his personality. And that's one thing he really does well today. And he did pull off some great looking moves as well. He had his bulldogs always look fantastic, or his sling blades always look fantastic. And he just looked fantastic while also having to deal with the Mysterio family on the sidelines. And plus, when he had that moment where Murphy was on the top rope and Seth just pushes him off, that was great. It wasn't much, but it was great. And then lastly, after that, we had Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso. My pick's Daniel Bryan. He looked great. He looked fantastic. Daniel Bryan is an incredible wrestler, an incredible grappler. I think his counter to the Samoan drop was fantastic. But Daniel Bryan right now doesn't really have much character in his wrestling just because he's just returning. And he's really focusing on putting over other wrestlers like Jey Uso. He's been doing that for a little while. He did that. He tried to do that with Drew Gulak. So his focus has mainly been just on the other wrestler and making his moves look good. He doesn't really have a really standout character right now to bring out in a match like this. But regardless, I still think he looked great. Yeah. So my pick overall for Wrestler of the Night is Seth Rollins. You agree?
I think there's room for me to argue that one. I wanted to see more from the Daniel Bryan Jey Uso fight, but I didn't see anything that I haven't seen from Jay before, and I didn't see anything from Daniel that felt like it was Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Seth was doing shit that I have not seen before from Seth.
Yeah.
Or anyone at this point. I really liked it. I mean, especially with the stomp through the fucking ropes.
That was insane.
Again, it's another one of those examples of same with Ricochet and Mustafa and Bailey and Sasha, where it's these are people who've been wrestling together for a minute now.
Mm.
You're gonna get better wrestling from them than you would from other people.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I liked it a lot. Seth should have won that. But.
He should have. It would have fit the storyline better.
Yeah.
So, moving on to our match of the night. Start off with New Day and Street Profits versus Dolph, Roode, Corbin, and Sami. I thought this match was chaotic going into it, forced going into it. There was no reason for this match to have happened in the first place. I think we should have gotten a singles match between Xavier and Tez, or Xavier and Dawkins. Like what they did with New Day and Cesaro and Shinsuke, we got singles of them over and over until we got to Extreme Rules. And that's exactly what we should have done here. We should have had a singles match. Just one singles match. But no, we got this chaotic-ass 8-man tag team match. Where Street Profits should not be so hostile to the New Day. The New Day should... I guess the New Day is doing things right now. But things... Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it basically felt like they had, one team of writers that were this is what would happen if, the New Day and Street Profits were getting along. And another team that was and this is what would happen if they hated each other right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then they said, let's take this bit from here, and this bit from here, and this bit from here. And I was like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. But regardless, everybody still looked pretty good. Even the Sami bit was forced, so it's hard to really give this match any commendation. After that, we had Natalya versus Tamina, which was a very short match. Who, at this point, very disposable wrestlers, even though Natalya has such a large track record. Flames. After that, we had Seth Rollins versus Buddy Murphy, which on its own would have been a fantastic match if it didn't have the Mysterio family on the sidelines. I didn't need Aaliyah shouting at Murphy to get up every single time he was knocked down. Every time.
He just got shoved into a fucking barricade. He just got, like, fucking stomped on. He's not getting up right away. I'm sorry.
And it's like, it's not like there was personality in what she was saying. She said the same thing every single time. Just sometimes she just said it while bending over him, and other times she said it while banging the mat. Yeah.
It almost sounded like the cat jumped down to the floor, but she didn't. And
That was me banging the desk.
It sounded like it was in here.
Oh, guess I'm that loud. But yeah, the Mysterio family was the worst part about this match, which sucks because it was a great match otherwise. Seth and Buddy both looked great. Seth looked fantastic. Buddy was a little monotone, but I mean, he's a face at this point. His intrigue is in his story rather than his personality.
Mm-hmm.
But the match itself was good to a certain extent. And then last but not least, we have Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso in our main event today. This match was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun watching Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso get another chance to go at each other, this time in a very fair and even match that was so exciting to watch. And we saw a better form from Daniel Bryan, a episode that focused more on Daniel Bryan rather than just having him act as a jobber. I loved this match, although it didn't have a whole lot of personality coming from Daniel Bryan, or Jey Uso for that matter. It was still a hell of a match to watch, a lot of fun. As far as pure wrestling goes, this had it all. I really liked this. The amount of grappling we got from Daniel Bryan was fantastic. Jay's frustration with Daniel Bryan, kind of countering everything he's throwing at him. It was great. I loved it. So, with that said, I think it's fairly obvious. My pick for match of the night is Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso. Any thoughts?
It's hard. It's hard. I don't disagree with you, but I also don't know. Because I really did like the Seth and Murphy fight.
But did you like Aaliyah and Ray and Dominic on the sidelines?
I guess that's like the one thing that makes me like the Daniel Bryan Jay fight more is that, like, I still can't get behind this whole Murphy, Aaliyah, Rey Mysterio, Dominic storyline.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't do it. It's like, it physically pains me. It is so gross. And for them to, like, take heed with, like, a lot of, like, outcry that, like, people have had, like, for example, like, the WWE, like, finding Drake Words to NXT is like, we wouldn't fucking notice it. Like, shit like that. It's like, all right. Also, you got, like, a lot of people, like, regular ass people who I normally just expect to be like, whatever, you know, the storyline. Regular ass people saying, like, no, this is weird.
Mm-hmm.
This is strange. just can't get behind it.
Yeah. It's hard
And I
to
want to
because
because I love Murphy.
but it's creepy.
Yeah. And like the kiss on top of her head after like he won, I was like, all right,
I didn't even
now.
notice that.
I did. I unfortunately did. I looked up just in time for it.
So, what's your pick for match of the night?
I'm going with Daniel and Jey because that kiss was not necessary.
The kiss between Daniel and Jey?
Right. I'm glad they did it.
Yeah, me too. Just a little.
Just right before they went down on that superplex, it was just a little.
When Daniel Bryan was almost Samoa dropped, he just gave a little peck on the cheek to Jey.
Like, while he was wrapped around Jay's fucking shoulders like a fucking mink stole. He was like. They gave a little smooch. That's why, like, Jay kind of turned. He was like, I don't want to see this. My wife's watching.
Alright, so to run it back, our promo of the night, Asuka and Sasha Banks face off. Wrestler of the night, Seth Rollins. Match of the night, Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso. Now, we move on to our Survivor Series predictions. Remember,
It is going to come down to one thing.
the rules of the predictions game, the pay-per-view predictions game, are that every incorrect prediction equals 1 can of hard seltzer that we need to finish before the end of the night. And whoever has the most correct predictions wins the night, wins the pay-per-view predictions, and makes a punishment for the other person. Now, I'm the reigning champion. I just want to say, after what was it? What was the last pay-per-view? Hell in a Cell. That was it. After Hell in a Cell, we're now moving into this where one match is what divides us. And it will come down to just that. Liz, would you like to start us off with our first match? Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn, United States Champion versus Intercontinental Champion. Who do you got? What was that, Bobby? I have Bobby as well. And I didn't want to reveal this until the night happened, until Survivor Series happened, because I thought you'd pick the other way. But I read an article that said that what was written, a little spoiler for Survivor Series, was what was written was Bobby Lashley was supposed to squash Sami Zayn.
Yeah. I believe I read the same thing, actually. I think originally they were going to do it as, I think they're going to have Sami win originally. And then they just scrapped it and said, fuck it. Gosh.
And hopefully they maintain that, because I want to win. Or I guess it wouldn't matter because we picked the same thing. So up next we have Drew McIntyre, the WWE Champion, versus Roman Reigns, the Universal Champion. Who do you have?
I have Drew.
And I have Roman. Because Roman, the big baddie on Smackdown, it would not fit his storyline one bit to lose to Drew McIntyre. He has to win. If Drew...
I see...
It just wouldn't fit his storyline to lose, because, like, well, where would you take it if he lost? He's supposed to be, like, the bad guy. If Drew loses, you can take that many ways. You can take that into a feud with Sheamus. You can take that into a lot of places. The Fiend.
I think you're right, but at the same time, Jay just lost.
Yeah, but Jay is a crony to Roman. Jay was never put on that same level as Roman.
What if they play it off as like, you embarrassed me and my head was so fucking busy in that and now I fucking lost and it's all your fault, blah, blah, blah. Jey gets beaten up by Roman at some point because how that seems to work out now.
Because I don't think Roman would pull something like that because he's not somebody who would get unfocused or distracted in any way.
I mean, he screamed at Jey Uso backstage because he did an interview.
He screamed at him because of that, but not he wouldn't blame somebody else for a match loss.
I don't know. I just think that like a loss would be interesting to show Roman kind of dealing with like maybe I'm not as good as I thought, and then that making him angrier and even more heelish.
Yeah, I just think there's more ways to take it if Roman wins.
But you see, the WWE doesn't always care about how you could take it.
Well,
I don't
we'll
think
see.
that far in advance, Mark.
If we're thinking that way, then no prediction matters because everything's unpredictable.
To be totally fair, though, in a similar vibe, though, like this is a very up in the air match. I think, especially when there's not like a title on the line.
Mm-hmm.
I think that makes it even more like who the fuck knows.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna stick to my guns, and also we can't have every single prediction be the same. So you're welcome.
All right, so next we have the men's Survivor Series elimination match 5-on-5 between Team Raw and Team SmackDown. Who do you got?
I have Team Raw.
Team Raw with Braun, Sheamus, AJ, Riddle, and Keith. And then there's SmackDown with Corbin, Seth, Jey, Kevin Owens, and Otis. I picked Team Raw as well, primarily because we have seen a focus on them on Raw where they are very dismembered and argumentative, and it just like any coming of age story, they'll come together when it really matters and, you know, win the match. Whereas we haven't seen the SmackDown team together as a team at all.
Right.
And
I think there's also something to say for the fact that like Jay's wrapped up in his own storyline, Seth's wrapped up in his own storyline, Otis is wrapped up in his own storyline. It's like, well, maybe they're all just too fucking distracted, you know?
Yeah, and I think I honestly think Jey will fuck everything up for everyone on Team SmackDown.
Absolutely. Whatever.
So after that, we have the women's Survivor Series 5-on-5 elimination match with Team Raw consisting of Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Peyton Royce, Lacey Evans, and Lana versus Team SmackDown, which has Bayley, Bianca Belair, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Natalya. Who do you have? And I think this match is actually the most up in the air.
I have SmackDown.
I have SmackDown as well. Because
I just feel like SmackDown has better chemistry.
They have better chemistry. And I think because we're going to have that coming of age moment with the men's elimination match, I don't think we're going to get the same treatment with the women's. Because there's so much discontent there that I don't think it'll be fixed by the time the match happens, because nobody's trying to fix anything there. Nobody's trying to meld relationships. On the men's side, you have AJ and Riddle who are trying to fix that situation. Women's, you've got nothing.
Plus, we've got two total newcomers because Lacey and Peyton were added to the team.
Yeah.
But I think, like, it's just, it's up in the air, but also it's harder because, like, you know, they do have Shayna and Nia. It's pretty formidable. But I don't know if that's formidable when you've got so much infighting.
Imagine the big moment, like the big what's it called? When there's a moment in a match that gets everybody like excited. There's a name for that, but I can't remember it. But that moment in the women's elimination match is gonna be when Bianca Belair deadlifts Nia Jax.
God, I hope so.
And Samoa drops her into the announce desk.
Plus, I feel like there's like a weird like, all right, let's work together on Team SmackDown. Where like Bianca was like, Bayley, you are not the captain, and then Bayley was like, come into the ring, and she's like, all right, fine, fuck it.
Yeah. And then we have the New Day versus the Street Profits. Who do you have?
I have the New Day.
I have the New Day as well. Primarily because the New Day has been so on top lately. But in a way that makes sense. They've been on top in very close matches. Meanwhile, the Street Profits have been on a long streak of winning. And I think the only team that will get them the loss is the New Day.
Plus, they've been on top a lot longer than the New Day have been. So I think it's good enough time for them to be peg.
Yeah, and I can just imagine the gloating Big E would do if Street Profits lose. And then that would cause maybe a little bit of a feud, maybe not, who knows. But I think Big E needs to get excited from this. Once Big E is excited, we get a title push. Yeah. And then last, but certainly not least, we have Asuka versus Sasha Banks. Who do you have?
Sasha.
I have Sasha as well, because she's just coming off of her SmackDown Women's Championship win. And Asuka has been in not great form lately. Sasha is I guess this all comes down to will Carmella attack Sasha from behind? Because she
cause for a DQ.
Not if the ref doesn't see it.
How are you not going to see Carmella? Unless you're Sasha.
Yeah. I don't know. I think there's just a reason Carmella wasn't on the elimination team. And I think it might have to do with this match.
It's possible. I personally just think that Sasha's going to win because, like, Asuka's won a lot. So, like, I think to give Sasha that, like, leg up, like, the only reason you were losing to Asuka was because of Bayley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't really have a definitive women's champion right now on either SmackDown or Raw. You could say it's Asuka, but she doesn't seem like a definitive champion, like undisputed champion.
She also hasn't been fighting she hasn't been defending the title at all.
Yeah. And plus, if Asuka loses, that opens up the opportunity for Charlotte Flair to come in and take the title. Sort of have her feel the need that there needs to be a new Raw Women's Champion, because the person representing Raw right now is not fit to be the face of the women's division on Raw.
Yeah. And on top of this, we also have a pre-show Raw and SmackDown Battle Royale, but that's literally impossible for us to even predict. So,
does it say who's in it?
I told you about this when we were watching the wrestling.
Oh, I must have blacked out because I don't remember this. But do we want to just say a name? Like, one of us just guess a name. It won't count against us, but it will count for us if we get it right.
All right, sure. Chad Gable. I thought it was random enough that maybe I got a shot there. I don't even know if he's going to be in it.
It's SmackDown and Raw. And
I assume it's men's.
Yeah, I would assume it's men's too, because there's only like 2 other women.
It's just a match.
I'm gonna say Rey Mysterio.
Okay. I just feel like maybe it would give like a good spot for Chad. Again, we can't even be sure that these are people who are going to be in this. So maybe we can make a guess when the Battle Royale starts.
Well, I think having just like a random name thrown out is even greater if one of us wins. If none of us wins, then it doesn't matter.
Well, how about this? We'll take these 2 random names, hold on to them, and then maybe when the match also starts, we can have a secondary prediction that's like, okay, these are the actual people that are in it.
Okay. All right. Works for me. All right. So, Liz, would you like to close us out?
If you tuned in tonight, thank you. And if you tuned in the future, thank you. It's probably Thanksgiving. Maybe it's Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah.
But if you
I
don't,
bought my new Hanukkah candles.
if you don't tune in, no thank you.
Yeah, if you don't tune in, fuck you. Yeah, just got some new menorah candles. Got some Christmas candles too. Keep calling them Hanukkah candles. I'm like, that's not what it's called. So yeah, thank you for tuning in if you did. I hope you all have a really good night. I hope that on Sunday I feel better.
Have sweet dreams, everybody.
Have sweet dreams, everybody. Hopefully my COVID test comes back and they're like, ha, you silly bitch, you just got allergies. Go die somewhere else. And I'll be like, thank you, City MD. Thank you for making me wait 3 hours in line for this. And if they come back and they say I've got COVID, I'm probably just going to kill myself, so. Either way, yeah. We will see you on Sunday. We will probably be live tweeting a lot of it. I look forward to it. Please tune in. And if you're watching this and when you see, when Mark reads off my Twitter, can you just tweet at me and tell me to fucking get my car inspected? Because I haven't done that yet. I'm getting pretty down to the wire on that.
Also, just want to give a quick shout out to Smackdown because according to them, the Seth Rollins Buddy Murphy storyline has officially ended today.
Really?
With that match, they said it is officially over.
So you're telling me that Seth lost his only disciple. He's about to go on a hiatus after Survivor Series, and when he comes back, he's not asked about it anymore?
Mm-hmm.
You know what that means? You know what that means?
What's that?
Changing his gimmick.
Yeah.
That's got to be what that means. He's going to come back being someone else.
Bring back the Beast Slayer.
We're not going to be able to do that at this point.
I want them to. I want the music back.
I do too. I know.
Alright. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, hit that follow button down below. Or with that subscribe button on YouTube. And if you're watching on the live show, check out the YouTube. We post all of our podcasts on there. It's been a little slow this week because I have been working my ass off. I've been getting killed at work, so I haven't had time to edit the podcast and put it up on YouTube. But I'm going to try to, right after this podcast ends, at least do the Raw episode. And if you're watching on YouTube, check out the Twitch, check out the live show. We can chat back and forth. We can't always look at the YouTube. We can't always respond to comments, unfortunately. But when we do the podcast, we always look at the chat. I always look at the chat. Liz doesn't. Follow us on Twitter at Pinfall Podcast. We post whenever we go live on there, as well as our picks for Wrestler and Match of the Night, in case you missed an episode but still want to know who wins. We also have a lot of fun around pay-per-views. We also live tweet some episodes, some pay-per-views as well. It's a lot of fun. Just follow us. Liz tweets a lot. She's funny sometimes.
He admits it.
And follow my personal Twitter at @TheMarkCameron, and Liz's at ElizaElane23. That's at ElizaElane23. And follow my personal Twitch, twitch.tv/MarkCameron. And thanks for watching, everybody. Join us this Sunday, 2 days from now. I guess
Sunday.
1.5 days from now for Survivor Series. You won't want to miss it. All right. We'll probably be drunk the whole time. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you on Sunday for Survivor Series.